incident where she had been at a bar / restaurant in Tequila Beach in town. She's not old enough to be drinking there, but she was there, she was drinking. She said Mr. Frazier had walked up behind her, had gotten very close to her behind her, and she could feel his erection against the back of her. And he said, well, if you're old enough to drink, you're old enough to be here and I can talk to you. And they did not. They had that information. They never called the hotline. They never did anything about it. You'll see that it wasn't addressed.
This is going to show that there was no failure on these leaders' parts. There was a failure of communication. A failure of communication by the teachers that were reporting to these gentlemen, specifically Mr. Gagnon, and that failure is why there was no further action other than what was done. The evidence will show that Mr. Frazier was dealt with and was disciplined. This idea that none of these things were addressed is completely factually inaccurate.
You cannot willfully fail to report something that you do not believe existed.
Now, why did you want to leave the classroom?
Because they was talking about inappropriate things and talking about.
Okay. And so where did you want to go?
I wanted to go to the front office to see Mr. Kane.
And what was Mr. Kane's position at the time? Was he an assistant principal or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what did you ask to leave or did you get up and leave?
I asked him could I leave and he refused. Frazier.
And what did he say?
He refused me to leave, so I just got up and I walked out. And he called on the radio. He called Mr. Kane and Officer Daniels. And when I was walking out, Officer Daniels was coming through the double doors, coming from the courtyard area. And Mr. Kane was coming from the front. And they stopped me. And I told them what happened.
It was during a training where Mr. Frazier was showing me how to process a referral on a new system that was installed in the school system. And I was at his desk, and he had sat up on the desk and rubbed his foot up my leg.
And what ended up happening with that?
I ended up having to speak to Mr. Frazier about it.